Welcome back to another episode of The Mandalorian, Season 3, Episode 7. Moff Gideon's Mandalorian Super Commandos and new Dark Trooper armor explained. The devastating information revealed by Moff Gideon in the most recent episode of The Mandalorian has some apparent consequences and some less obvious ones.
Disarm him.
Spoilers ahead, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Moff Gideon's new Dark Trooper armor and Stormtrooper gear, obviously inspired by the Mandalorian Super Commandos, were first seen in The Mandalorian, Season 3, Episode 7. In The Mandalorian Season 3, Giancarlo Esposito's Moff Gideon makes a bloody comeback after fleeing the New Republic. Fragments of Beskar were discovered in the prison transport in Episode 5, which suggested a Mandalorian connection to the forces that freed him. Given that the Empire's bombing had destroyed Mandalore's electromagnetic sphere, making it impossible to scan the planet, Moff Gideon made the wise decision to hide from the New Republic on the planet itself. His use of the metal for his own purposes is further revealed in The Mandalorian, Season 3, Episode 7. New stormtroopers have arrived. Their armor is clearly inspired by the Darth Maul-era Mandalorian Super Commandos, and Moff Gideon is donning even more commanding garb. Moff Gideon's stormtroopers wear armor influenced by Mandalorian Super Commandos. The Mandalorian Super Commandos, a faction of belligerent Mandalorians that supported Darth Maul during his brief dominion over Mandalore, were first introduced to viewers of Star Wars, The Clone Wars. Following the destruction of Maul, the Saxon clan continued to uphold the Super Commandos' reputation by swearing allegiance to the Empire and donning white armor to mimic Imperial stormtroopers. The reverse of this tendency is continued by Gideon's troops, who have stormtroopers donning Beskar armor, replete with Super Commandos-inspired design cues, especially on the helmet. It's hard to tell how much Beskar is actually used in the armor of Moff Gideon's stormtroopers. While some appear to be able to withstand more gunfire than regular stormtroopers, others are taken down rather quickly. That can imply that the butter is of inferior quality or that they were only partially protected. In any event, these stormtroopers use distinctively Mandalorian strategies, especially the use of jetpacks. These enable Moff Gideon's stormtroopers to conquer the fabled high ground by descending from the heavens. Ironically, Resistance forces were taken aback by jetpacks in Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, which took place decades after Return of the Jedi, yet such a development could be seen in Imperial forces just a few years later. Moff Gideon's own Dark Trooper armor. Darth Vader served as an inspiration for Moff Gideon's first armor, which has now been modified into what he calls his Dark Trooper armor. With the foreboding appearance obviously meant to frighten Mandalorians and remind them of their previous failures at the hands of the Empire, this combines both his imperial pride and his interest in Mandalorian technology. Another homage to the Mandalorian Super Commandos, who don horn-like helmets to show their allegiance to Darth Maul, are the spikes that are purposefully placed on top of the helmet. These spikes are reminiscent of Darth Maul's. Even earlier in The Mandalorian, Season 3, Episode 7, in a scene where Gideon walks to meet with the Shadow Council, the connection to Maul is hinted at. Straight through bright red plasma doors strikingly similar to the ones seen in Star Wars, Episode I, The Phantom Menace. Given his fearful response to Luke Skywalker in the Season 2 finale of The Mandalorian, Moff Gideon's new Dark Trooper armor is made from pure Beskar and is therefore impervious to both blaster fire and lightsaber attacks. Moff Gideon is now well armed thanks to the device, which contains typical wrist gauntlets and what appears to be a knee-pad rocket launcher. Having the typical Mandalorian jetpack, he can flee when the combat starts to turn against him. He asked for 3 Praetorian guards to protect him, which is ironic given that he can both escape and is extremely tough to kill in Beskar. Will the Empire mass-produce Dark Trooper armor? Moff Gideon evidently intends to mass-produce his Dark Trooper armor for future warriors since he refers to it as a prototype. Luke Skywalker easily defeated such droids when he faced the last generation of Dark Troopers, but Mandalorian technology was literally made for such a battle. It's possible that Moff Gideon's encounter with Luke Skywalker influenced him to develop a new breed of Dark Troopers that he thought would not be as readily defeated. But it's not clear what will happen to Mandalore. The significance of Mandalore in this earlier period of the Star Wars timeline is very strange considering that it is completely gone from the second trilogy. It's interesting to notice that Moff Gideon's stormtroopers, who were inspired by Super Commandos, have a look that resembles the First Order's soldiers more than the Empire's, indicating that some aspects of his design will be kept. However, the sequel trilogy's stormtroopers are obviously not wearing Beskar because of how much easier it is for them to be taken out. The Empire probably lost access to Mandalore during the Mandalorian era, which would account for why Moff Gideon's successors do not employ this uncommon alloy and why the Dark Troopers are no longer remembered. Thank you for watching.